What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope all you sickos are having yourselves a great night, a great week. It has been a long one, a hot one. It has been an enjoyable week, though. I hope you're all having yourselves a fantastic time out there. But we're here tonight live to talk some birds. So I appreciate each and every one of you tuning in, whether you're watching this live or watching this later. But told you, I would keep you up to date after the draft with who's still out there, maybe some trade candidates. Well, we've got both of them. So the top 200 NFL free agents and 20 trade candidates for the Eagles. And of course, I will show you what the Eagles got going on with their depth chart, my position rankings, how I feel their strengths, weaknesses, whatever it may be. And the cap space, of course, is coming along tonight. So appreciate you again, you sickos. But any questions, any comments, anything you have on your mind, welcome down below. But been keeping you up to date with all of the roster moves, everything. If you missed the video last night, go check out the newest undrafted free agent international player program signing. We've been making all kinds of moves. So Howie, he's a true madman. But I'm going to do my best to continue keeping you up to date every single day. Now, wanted to just remind you, tomorrow I will not be here. I've got a lot going on, so will not be a video, but I will be here for Fan Friday. So hope to see you then. But got some good info here, a lot of players for you. So love to hear from you, who you guys think you like, what you would do. Maybe you've got some other ideas other than what I have. Love to hear from you. But let's jump over to the comments and we'll get right into this content. Let's go. Yo, what is going on, Tiffany? Appreciate you tuning in. Go Birds indeed. And yeah, where you been? It's crazy not to have seen you. Last night we were breaking it down, but hey, look, we're all busy, but nice to see you back, and appreciate you tuning in, my man, Traver. Let's go. Hope you're doing well, bro. And we're going to be breaking this down. The cap space updates are always coming at you, so in case any of you missed that, and okay, Rob, appreciate you tuning in. Now, let's jump into this, and we'll start it off with that cap space. And if you missed the video about what the rookie cap hits are, how that stuff works, go check it out. But right now, currently $27.2 million, and it's only going to cost around $2 million. Well, actually around 2.2 for those rookies. So we'll have around 25 million once all is said and done. And Howie's always cooking, so expect more things to go down. But the purpose of that, showing you this, is, well, we've got a lot of money, and that's not something we're going to worry about here tonight. I figure, man, we talk about numbers all the time, right? That's all the time I'm doing math. I've been so damn busy at work. I was like, you know what? We're going to talk about the players, all that stuff, and just realize that if anything were to happen, I'll explain the cap information. And I usually do that every show with the trade stuff. But I'm not looking up all 20 of those players' contract details, not this time around, because I just had too much going on. Wanted to drop this video for you. Not going to be here tomorrow, so it's going to be crazy. But I know you've all been waiting for it. Let's jump into it. You see the money, so that's just to say we've got enough to do whatever we want. We can trade for whoever we want, sign whoever we want. So whoever's on your mind, we can do it. So let's take a look now what the Eagles have going on. And remember, we talked about it. We have an open roster spot, LaRaven Clark on IR. So look, we can sign or trade or do whatever we want. And again, if you want to add somebody else, you can always let go of somebody. But looking at the offense, you can see here anyone in that bright green free agent trade, anybody in the Kelly green, a draft pick, and then the undrafted free agents in gray there. But we're going to talk about all these positions: the quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, left tackle, right tackle, all the above. So, to me, I'll give you my rankings here, but, quarterback, I thought we were set going into the draft. Running back, I like Shipley a lot. You guys know he was one of my top fits. Intrigued to see what Milton, Terry and Davis Price, Lou Nichols, what they can do, because, anything were to happen to Saquon, you wonder what could be going on with Kenny Gainwell. Does he continue to develop? I know a lot of people feel a certain way about him, but I like Shipley, but he's a rookie. So, yeah, question mark there. Wide receiver. Talk about, I think Ainias Smith could take that starting job. Devontae Parker, Paris Campbell, they are veterans, but you brought in Johnny Wilson. I think he's going to be a great red zone threat. You guys know both Smith and Wilson were top fits. So for me before the draft, and I think that these guys man, really excited to have him in the room. So it makes me feel much better than I did before the draft about this room. But I can understand some people still asking some questions there. But tight end, that's one of the places I thought we would address. We did not do that. And look, you added, an undrafted kid, you signed Azoma, but anything were to happen there, some more question marks. We'll see if Calcaterra, Albert O, Togiai, Jenkins, anybody wants to step it up there. But talking about offensive line depth, Steen, we talked about, could lose that job to Keegan. Hennessy could maybe win the job. Hell, maybe Dylan McMahon surprises us all, but you've got some competition there. And Fred Johnson, excited to have him back as a tackle. You brought in Mekhi Becton, so you actually have some competition. So I'm feeling a little better about the offensive line depth that, talked about. We got to add there in the draft. We did that. We added 2 players. We got some undrafted kids here. So, and Anam Dankwa, we talked about as one of my top fits, the undrafted kid. So as an undrafted, fit, that was funny because he's an athletic freak, a project. Well, that's the same as Lakin Vakalahi there, who we talked about last night. Again, you can go check that out. Not much known other than the fact that he is a project, just like Jordan Mailata was a few years ago. So, look, the offense, I'm feeling pretty good about it, but you always got to watch out for injuries. You always want depth. So, and you're always looking to the future. Now, on the defense, I told you I was going to show this one for a little bit here throughout the offseason, just to get people on board with the idea of the versatility here. And there's obviously not 13 starters, but that's what I got listed here because you can see the open depth for edge and linebacker, and then where you see DB and safety meet. Just talking about guys that can play safety and nickel corner. So they're in the middle of the nickel and the safety. And we talked about Cooper DeJean competing for that nickel corner spot. Don't think he's getting the outside spot because you got Quinyon Mitchell with Slay. And I think Bradbury will be gone because you have Ringo and Ricks. And clearly at nickel, you still have Isaiah Rodgers, Avonte Maddox, Zach McPherson, Tyler Hall was brought in. So Cooper DeJean's got some competition, but he could definitely be playing regardless. That's what the whole purpose of showing this one. And I'm working on redoing one with the 11, but with the multiple scheme D, it's crazy because you could have a 4-man front, 5-man front. You could have, just 2 corners, 3 corners, 4 corners, 2 safeties, 3 safeties. So that's why I want to show you these like extra, depth pieces where it's open there. You can see, just trying to show you like where it's edge and linebacker. Guys like Nolan Smith, Zach Bond, Hunt Smith, Johnson Lewis, they can all play off ball and edge. So you've got versatile pieces here throughout on the team. I like the interior, a lot of young, guys here. The youth maybe scare some people, but and maybe you want to add some depth there. But linebacker, I know, is questionable for people. Hey, I'm hopeful Dean stays healthy and Devin White comes in and gets back to all-pro form. You got Burks and Bond here, versatile pieces. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. was brought in. So Ben Van Sumeren's here, man. He looked real good. He really does well on special teams. So I think you've actually got some guys there. I know a lot of people still feel skeptical there, but I feel a lot better now after the draft. And, looking at the corner safety, I think, having a guy like DeJean, the reason I didn't want to put him at safety is because I don't think he's really playing there. And then you heard him today on the Kay Adams show saying he's going to be playing nickel corner. So that's exactly what we talk about. And the cool thing about him is he can play all over. They talked about it before the draft like it was a bad thing. That's why we wanted him, because he is versatile. So just like CJ Gardner-Johnson, you can move these guys around, do all kinds of things. Who cares what the label is? But DeJean, oh man, the sky is the limit for this young man. But I think you still maybe could look for some safety depth because, you need a true safety back there. Sidney Brown banged up. He says he's going to be ready, but who knows? And, Gardner Johnson, Reed Blankenship, beyond that, you got McCollum, guys like Garner Goodrich who can dabble there. So a lot of question marks there. But I'll show you the position ranks in a second. Here are the specialists. So Elliott, man, Lovato, feel great there. And then the returners, man, for once, I'm like, holy crap, dude. We've got all kinds of competition here. The undrafted kid, Sean Stevens, he can return the damn ball. Ananias Smith is, man, when the ball is in his hands. We talked about him as a top fit for the Eagles for a reason before this draft. Same with Shipley. More of a kick returner, though. DeJean can do both. More of a punt returner, but Ananias Smith can do both. Get him the ball in his hands. I think he could be the kick returner this year for the Eagles, and we talked about it. He could take a starting job. So I'm a big fan of he, and I'm excited to see what happens. But let's take a look now at how I have the position strength here. And look, for me, quarterback, we talked about it. They're set there. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. And, you got Pickett, you got Greer, who knows this system and can help others, and then Tanner McKee. So, like that. Specialist, feel really good about that. Cornerback, I feel really excited. We got so much competition. The only reason, I didn't have him above specialist because there's some question marks as to, are you getting rid of Bradbury? Who's starting where? What's going on? But I think it's going to be great. Cannot wait there, but feel pretty strong. Wide receiver, a lot of question marks there, but I'm pretty pumped after getting Smith and Wilson here. You got Campbell and Parker to push them, so there is some depth, a bunch of other younger guys we saw there, but excited for the competition. Interior defensive line, I know it's a lot of youth, but people are sleeping on Jordan Davis. Jalen Carter is the man. Milton Williams, people forget, he's a stud. And, he sat behind the depth chart. He's going to step it up in Fletcher Cox's place. And I think that those guys are going to, tear it up. You got Tuipulotu, Ojomo, Mustapher was brought in. You got some guys that are going to compete here. Gabe Hall, the undrafted kid, we talked about him. Watch out for him to maybe make the team. So I like the depth we have, but hey, you could look to add there. Interior offensive line, guard, center, who's going to win? Is it going to be Keegan, Steen, Hennessy? Do you want to add somebody else? Is Juergens really your center? So maybe some question marks there, but we're so strong that beyond, the last couple there, I feel pretty good. So offensive tackle, you brought in Mekhi Becton. You have Fred Johnson. I like that. But maybe you could use some more. You don't know if Becton, what's going on with him, if he can get back to form. Jeff Stoutland is the man. So, hey, maybe he finds one of those undrafted kids. So I feel good there. Linebacker, we talked about it. I think we got some serviceable depth there in case anything were to happen. I like the pieces we picked up. Dean back. So I'm okay, but maybe you want to add there. Running back, I could understand some skepticism as to what's going on in case anything happens to Saquon. And, I want everybody to be healthy, but stuff does happen. And look, he's actually going to have an offensive line and, pieces around him. So I think it's going to be much, more beneficial to his health, but you never know. But some question marks there, hoping Shipley can step things up. Maybe one of those other guys, TDP or Lou Nichols, can step it up. Excited to see Milton, the Georgia kid. So got some competition there. We'll see if we want to add. Edge defender. Look, to me, you signed Bryce up for a reason. Talked about Hassan Reddick being traded, and he did get traded. And you got Sweat. You restructured him, brought him back. Brandon Graham is back. But you drafted Nolan Smith for a reason last year. And you brought in Jalix Hunt, who you guys know was also a top fit for me before the draft. So love that kid. Love his upside as a former safety. So maybe you want to add there just because, anything happens. You need some depth, not just throwing the youth in there. But look, you could, but I still feel this team is pretty strong across the board here. So getting into the last couple here, maybe. Talked about safety. Anything were to happen, I'd be scared. And that has happened the last couple of years. So maybe a look to add a safety. And then tight end, man. We've been talking about tight end for a while. I just feel that maybe, just maybe, you can go ahead and add a tight end to this roster in case anything were to happen to Goddard. Yeah, but run 12 and 13 personnel. Now, they added CJ Uzomah. I totally get that. Yeah, that's great. But I would have looked to add more. But the thing is, even if this roster was set, this is how it was, I'd feel confident they're still winning the Super Bowl. That is still my opinion. And I think that, you look at this team, they are stacked. And yeah, you can't have an all-pro at every position, but you got a lot of cap space. So if they want to improve, they can improve. And they can get really scary, man. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So that's what we're here to talk about tonight. But let me jump over here to the chat. And I appreciate that. And anytime you guys rewatch any of that stuff, you can always comment. I'll always try to get back to you. But, and hey, that happens. It definitely happens. But, that is it. And you'll get 16 people on the practice squad. And I like Andre Sam. I am a fan of he. And I definitely forgot to mention him. But, yeah, I like him. And we talked about his chance with the lack of depth there. But if they add anybody, it obviously gets slimmer, but I like it. But appreciate you tuning in. And thank you also, Kachi's mom, for taking the time. We just went over what the Eagles look like in case any of you guys miss it, what kind of cap space, and all that information is already out there available for you. But I'd like to recap on that stuff if it is relevant to the show. And clearly you want to know we got that money and you want to know where the holes are. And I'd love to hear your opinion on where you would add. But we're going to run right through this. We're going to look at the top 200 free agents. Then I'll hit up the top 20 trade candidates. But we'll go through each position here on the free agents. So quarterback, I feel fine. But here's the top 10 guys that are out there. And if you're looking for a quarterback, well, you're out of luck. And Ryan Tannehill might be your only hope. But yeah, a few options out there. Best of luck. Eagles don't need it. Now, at running back, yeah, some question marks. So, yeah, maybe add somebody, but not much. Kareem Hunt, kick the tires on him. Jerick McKinnon, Matt Breida, Josh Kelly, Cam Akers, some serviceable guys. Latavius Murray at the ripe age of 87. Benjamin, Lynn Bowden, Marlon Mack, Alex Arma. So, yeah, you've got some options out there if you want to add it back. So, I do like Kenny, I think, more than most people, but I don't want him as the main back. And Will Shipley's going to take time. Same with Milton, Tyrion Davis-Price, Lou Nichols, all these guys. You don't know what you're going to get. So maybe somebody, Jerick McKinnon with that speed and pass catching ability you add to the mix, just to compete with these guys, or a Breida, Kelly, Akers. Maybe. So let me know if you guys like any of those running backs there. But getting slim at that position. And hey, look, we got Saquon Barkley, so I'm stoked. But hey, you never know. Now, the top 20 wide receivers out there, and Renfro, a name people like to talk about, but I'm telling you, I would have Ainias Smith playing over him all day, every day, and Britton Covey, I think he could beat him out too. So, Michael Thomas, Allen Robinson, you've got guys like Zay Jones talking to the Cowboys, Jamal Agnew, a gadget player. Wouldn't mind seeing someone like him you wanted to add to the mix. I know they had Jakeem Grant there for this tryout session here this past weekend, but did not get signed. So, but hey, look, there's some speedy return men out there like him. So look, whatever you're maybe looking to add, I feel much more comfortable with the pieces we added, the two, in free agency, the two that we drafted, and then, you got undrafted kids. So I'm all right there, but let me know how you feel about the receivers. And then moving on to tight end, there wasn't 20 available. So, yeah, here you go. And look, man, we talked about it. Slim pickings now, but my guy, Bryson Hopkins, still sitting out there. So go ahead, get you a young man, that actually is cheap and, is just going to compete. I don't think, obviously, that's not a household name. People, but I think he could come in, compete with guys like Calcaterra, Albert O, and whether he wins over them or, the other guys win out, whatever, just bring in some damn competition. But there are guys like Swaim and Mercedes Lewis, Logan Thomas still available. Lewis, dude, he's literally like 38 years old or something. That dude could still block, could still catch. So pretty wild. But some pieces out there that you could look to add. Let me know if you like any of those tight ends. Now, the offensive line, we talked about it. You could look to add some depth there. I added a bunch just because you're looking at tackles on the left, and then guards and centers on the right, and some versatile pieces mixed in. So all over the place here. But look, to me, after adding Becton, drafting Keegan and McMahon there, bringing in those undrafted kids, Dankwa and, a Yedzi, and now, the Vala Hockey, Chucky, whatever, dude, I think, you feel more comfortable. You have Hennessy here, and I think Connor Williams, Vaitai, they would be cool to have back, but I don't know, maybe, with LaRaven Clark going, they do bring in another offensive lineman because, we like having that competition and you like having guys up to speed and, knowing this system. So I expect to see some competition there. And we did add some, but I wouldn't be surprised if they added more. So let me know if there's any of those offensive linemen or anybody on that offense that you would like to talk about or that you would like to see on the team, whatever it is. But we're going to jump into the defense here. And happened last weekend with what? I'm not sure what you mean. Definitely Milton. We're talking about Milton Williams or Kendall Milton, the running back. I'm excited about Milton Williams being a key piece of the interior D lineman, and excited to see Kendall Milton get a chance to compete for a backup running back spot. But, either way, either one, I would be excited about. Now, let's jump into the defense here, and we'll start it off with the interior defensive lineman. And as I mentioned, that youth there, Milton Williams, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, I'm very excited about those guys. I've heard people talking about Calais Campbell. Yeah, you could get a beast of a man in here, a veteran, to help with the depth and, help these young guys. I wouldn't be against that at all got a lot of pieces out there actually. And, you know, I think for me, I feel good about it, but you never know, man. As I just mentioned, they always like to add to the trenches. So I think, hey, you want to add some of these guys? All right. If you don't, I'd like to see those young guys compete. But let me know how you feel about Calais Campbell, maybe a Lawrence Guy. Who are you liking there with the interior defensive linemen? But up next, we've got the edge defenders, and I brought along 20 of them. And look, there's still guys like Jerry Hughes, Yannick Ngakwe, Emmanuel Aguas. You got Charles Harris, some veteran pieces out here, Carl Lawson, Bud Dupree. I like Rasheem Green as well. And I think Jerry Hughes still got a lot left in the tank there. Bradley Anae hasn't really panned out there for the Cowboys or Jets. And, maybe, with his skill set, he could fit. But there are some options out there. As we talked about, I love Bryce F. You guys know he was my number one free agent target. Super excited to get him. So, with he and Sweat, Nolan Smith, Jalix Hunt, Brandon Graham, I do feel comfortable. But if you want to add to that mix, I would be all for it. Now, you do have guys like Aquara back there, Jackson Johnson, Lewis Smith that are all competing. So you do have depth. And as I mentioned, Zach Bond, he can help you as depth at edge as well. So maybe you don't need to add, but if you're looking to add, there are some names available. And then if you like any of those guys, make sure to let me know down below. And up next, I've got your off-ball linebackers here. And I brought 26 of them with because, well, I had to try to make it 200, and that's just how these numbers worked out. Let's go. Now, linebacker, I know a lot of people feel a certain way, so I brought you a full list of the 26 available. And, hey, if you like any of these guys, let me know. But you got some old heads, Blake Martinez, Anthony Barr out there. You got Sean Bradley still out there, special teamer, but Eagles added Oren Burks. So, with Bond being, a versatile piece, obviously adding Burks, as I mentioned there, getting Devin White, drafting Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I think, you feel much more comfortable, but we talked about it. I would bring Zach Cunningham back as a veteran piece who has starting experience, can help these young guys. But, no thanks on Shaq Leonard. I like, maybe Tyler Matakevich. He would be okay. Jabril Cox hasn't really panned out with Washington or Dallas, but I think there are some options if you're looking, to add, but I do feel comfortable with what the Eagles have there at linebacker. Now up next, I've got the cornerbacks, 22 of them. And well, the Eagles, I think, have 22 themselves. No, I'm just kidding. But, we do have a lot. And, there are some pretty good names still available, to be honest, but I don't think we have to worry about that. But Steven Nelson, don't think he wants to come back. Xavier Howard, Old Man River, Torrey Jackson. Hey, look, as I said, Gilmore, some of these guys getting older, still got some, but I think we're good. Janet Sullivan, I like Herndon. J.C. Jackson, hope all is well with him. Sutton, Flowers, Witherspoon, Jacobs. I think, Patrick Peterson even. And there's a lot of names that are names. A lot of guys, though, that still have some left. And look, if you're looking for a corner, they're out there. Don't think the Eagles need to. But up next at safety, I think this could be the guy that most of you have been waiting for. And yeah, if you're going to sign somebody, if I'm the Eagles, why not? At this point, he's realized, okay, people don't want to pay me. Pay him and have an all-pro safety with C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Reed Blankenship becomes a depth piece. And then you just got guys like Sidney Brown, all over the place. Cooper DeJean all over. Oh, my sweet baby back, Lord. Then you've got Eddie Jackson, Micah Hyde, Rudy Ford, Ryan Neal, Tracy Walker, Marcus May, John Johnson. I mean, there are some names out here, ladies and gentlemen. Quandre Diggs. I know a lot of people like Jamal Adams. No, thank you. But Terrell Edmonds is back out there. Jane Ron Curse, Mac McCain, former Eagle, Keanu Neal. Terrell Burgess was just in for a tryout, did not get signed. Former Eagle, Elijah Riley also down there. But some options if you're looking for a safety. And, well, I think the Eagles should be looking for a safety. So there's a list of 26 of them. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on who you like there at safety, corner, linebacker, edge, interior D-line, whatever it may be. Anybody on the defense, or you missed the offense, you want to tell me about that? I do not mind. But those were the top 200 free agents still sitting out there. So if the Eagles want to improve this team, they can definitely do that. So all about it. The new guys, they had rookie mini camp tryouts. So, yeah, they get together, they try out, they do some drills, and that's about it. So, yeah, that's how the NFL works, unfortunately. So, yeah, And yeah, Kendall Milton, I am a fan too. So look, I think they've got a lot of young talent here. So as much as people are saying, you got to do this, you got to add that, that's the purpose of this show. So now you see all the free agents that are out there. You heard my opinion. Love to hear yours. We'll get into the top 20 trade candidates, and I'm not going to go through every single picture like I usually do with that stuff. I'm just going to give you 10 on offense, 10 on defense, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But we're going to start it off here on the offensive side of the ball. And I've been a lot of chatter, and obviously, Miles Sanders looks like his time could be coming to an end there in Carolina. But, I wouldn't mind that at all, putting he and Saquon back together like the Penn State days. But a guy like Jeff Wilson, with them adding in the draft, right, I believe it was, out of Tennessee, Texas. But I'm sorry, I'm just seeing orange. But, they've got a load of room with A-Chain there and a Mostert. So if you could get, a speedy dude like Wilson, I would not mind that at all. I think he could be expendable. Could be a good depth piece with some starting experience. He does have an injury history, though, so you got to watch out. But that's my opinion on the running back room. Like, sure, you could add, but I don't think it's dire need. And I added some linemen because I talked about it. Hey, if you want to, maybe some back-end guys that aren't going to cost you that much. Nate Herbig, I threw him in there. Maybe you want some more competition. Let's bring him on home. But on the right side, you can see all tight ends. That's where I'm looking at. And, what if Michael Mayer is available? They just drafted Brock Bowers. Maybe you could convince them, give up a 4th, 5th round pick, get someone like Mayer there, added with Goddard. I would be ecstatic, but maybe they don't want that. They want Bowers and him together. All right, well, maybe then you try to get a Harrison Bryant, who we talked about, former Brown, but signed with the Raiders. Maybe with them drafting Bowers now, maybe he becomes, expendable. Would not mind that. He and Goddard together. And the young guys competing with him in Azoma. So just looking to add depth there. But Brevin Jordan, they added a tight end. So maybe he's available. He's like 4th on the depth chart. Irv Smith. Dude, they got Wiley in the draft. I really like him as a tight end. And looks like Irv Smith, he signed there, but he's going to be dropping down the depth chart. But if he stays healthy, could provide you some depth. And then you see Foster Moreau down there. So it's kind of slim pickings a little bit. So for me, I'm still looking at Bryson Hopkins, the free agent. Maybe you can get one of those Raiders tight ends. But we'll see what the Eagles decide to do. But maybe one of those young guys will step up in Calcaterra, Alberto, getting to know the system here, staying healthy. We'll hope the best and find out. But let's get into the top 10 on defense. Love to hear your thoughts. Who are some trade candidates you like on the offense out there that I don't have listed? But let's take a look at the defense here. And for me, if you're not signing Budda Baker, maybe you can pry Budda Baker away. Or did I just say, if you're not signing Justin Simmons, maybe you could trade for Budda Baker. So I think for me, obviously he's still got a lot left. And I think that, last year of his contract, maybe, you can bring him here, convince him to sign a long-term deal. I would be more than okay with getting one of those safeties, Budda Baker or Justin Simmons there. But if not, you got a guy like Jalen Thompson who's versatile, can help you at nickel if need be. But, if not, you got a couple more safeties there, and Grant, Stewart, Bryant, Kobe Bryant, somebody who can play nickel and can play safety. So, and same with MJ Stewart. And, so a lot of these guys, that versatility will help. And then you see on the next side, some versatility in the sense of linebackers, former safeties. Marquise Bell, talked about him a couple years ago before the draft. He, obviously is getting playing time, but I would love to pry him away if we could. It is Dallas, and I know people feel a certain way, and I don't know how much they want to, work with us and help us out there. But, maybe a guy like Ronnie Harrison, if not, maybe you could work with the Colts there, get one of those versatile pieces. And then at edge, if you're still looking, maybe a guy like Tyquan Lewis, Travis Gibson, Jacob Martin, some back-end pieces. I really don't feel I'm going for those big name players. I don't think that the Eagles need to go out of their way to add anywhere other than that safety position. And again, you have that $27.2 million in cap space. So they can do whatever the hell they want. But if I'm them, I'm adding at safety, I'm adding at tight end, and those would be the moves to improve this team. But look, for me, I'm excited, and I can't wait to see these battles. I'm going to be breaking down all of these training camp battles, each and every position. So we'll get to know everybody on the team. I'll let you know my thoughts on who makes the team, my depth charts, all that great stuff. We'll be breaking it down. And remember, in a couple of weeks, we've got OTAs. So I'll have those videos breaking down the OTA battles. So keep tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. But, we'll be talking about that here soon, my friend, and lots of competition. So excited about that. But all I've got for you here tonight, if you got anything from this, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. You can always subscribe. Always appreciate you guys sharing this stuff, everything you're doing to support the channel. I cannot thank you enough. But I hope you're having yourselves a great week so far. If you need anything, talk about the birds, talk about life, I'm always here for you, as you guys are for me. So I appreciate you all taking the time, watching live, watching later, whatever it may be. You got some thoughts on it? Love to hear from you. But have yourselves a great rest of your night. Until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. You all stay safe out there, and as always, say it with me now, go Birds!